Baltimore is a place where you have a ton of talented people, not just athletes, not just musicians, not just artists, uh, not just talented that way, but academically talented. But unfortunately, you have a high number of those folks that just don't have the opportunity to further their education and to spread their wings. So then they have to make life or death choices, unfortunately. And um, it can be a sad, sad thing. So that is why this is amazing. I feel like even if this wasn't Baltimore, even if this wasn't any other crime ridden city, I just think for one school to put out that amount of student athletes um, and send them to college on scholarship, I just think that's amazing.
It's your boy Verse, and this is Open Mike with OTR Mike.
Yeah.
Yo. What up, good people? It's your boy OTR Mike. Let me be the first to welcome you to another episode of Open Mic with yours truly. That's right. This is the show where the mic is open for any discussion, no matter what it is, who it is, or where it is. Welcome back, people. As I start every show, let me thank you guys for coming back, for tapping in with your boy, for listening, for keeping me going on this solo journey. I appreciate you guys so much. Also, bear with me. Excuse the congestion that you may hear. I think I sound better than I did last week. But yeah, it's still there. So excuse me. Um, I know that can be annoying listening to somebody that sounds congested, but man, bear with me. All right. I'm just gonna take a little bit of your time. I promise. I know I'll be stretching that when I say I'm not gonna be before you long, and it ends up going longer than anticipated. But look, I'm gonna keep this one short and sweet. I promise. All right. So look, man. As you know, my last two topics, uh, they were about the situation that went on with Haye and Bethune Cookman, which spiraled out of control. Um, of course, media driven, and then it brought in huge debate on HBCUs in itself, not just football, not just not just Bethune Cookman. Um, and it started a little firestorm, and of course, the media hopped on it, and they played their role into why it ended up the way that it did. But man, um, I'm gonna spin this one a little different. No, I'm not speaking about Ed Reed or HBCUs this week. I think 2 episodes is enough. And shout out to my guest that helped me on those 2 episodes. If you haven't heard them, go back and take a listen. I promise you, you will enjoy them. Plenty of great insight. We took a deep dive into not just Ed Reed, not just Bethune, but man, HBCUs in general. All of my guests are HBCU alums, and they put on. They schooled me. They schooled some of the listeners, and they'll school you if you don't know some things. So yeah, check it out. But part of this episode, um, it just made me think, right? Just thinking back my last 2 episodes and how the media can affect certain situations, right? Especially national media. Once they get a hold of a story, they typically focus on the negative side of the story and they feed it to us. And that can be overwhelming at times. But there's plenty of great stories, positive stories locally, nationally. And some of these local stories I feel like should reach the national level, but they don't. Um, so I'm going to give you a positive story for this week. Now, it is Sunday night, and I know to some of you, there were far greater topics like the Grammys. Um, and I could have been using this time to talk about the Grammys, but I chose otherwise because you'll get enough of that this week. You'll have a ton of people talking about the Grammys. If they aren't already doing so, I'm sure YouTube is booming with Grammy recaps and the performances and all of the above. And then you'll get people's opinions throughout the week on their podcast. And yeah, check those opinions out, man. Got some people with dope opinions, so for sure, check that out. But I just wanted to take my little nano platform, a little small platform, to discuss this right here.
You don't have this happen every day where you have 10 African American boys from an urban community not just excel on the field but academically.
These student athletes out of East Baltimore are making their own history.
It's safe to call you a proud pop right now?
And you took the words, I'm a proud papa.
Coach Smith's not just proud of the 2 state championships this bunch won, he's proud of the team's average 3.2 GPA. Over 73 scholarship offers they received from schools like University of Maryland, Army, Cornell, and Penn State. And the more than $18 million awarded, their families won't have to spend on college.
Something I dreamed of and worked hard for him since I was a little kid.
You know how I feel when your mother proud of you?
He has great, tenacity, and, we've been through a lot, so I'm really, really, really proud of him.
It's not just mom that's proud.
Devin Roche is our star quarterback, and their 9th graders have him as their screensaver.
His teammate Joshua Fedd has his sights set on Harvard, but his mind on the legacy he'll leave by going.
When I was in that 9th grade position, they're going to see that this is possible. It's possible to go to Ivy League. It's possible to go to a Power 5 school.
I feel incredibly grateful and very proud of Josh and all of his hard work. And just looking forward to the next chapter.
Some of the players had to overcome great adversity to get to this point. Shantron Monroe taking his moment to take it all in after losing his mom during the football season.
If you saw when I was talking, I broke down a little bit. It's like, even at times like that, I know they got me. They there for me.
What they all have in common, they saw their visions through.
He said, "Mom, I'm going to school free, and I'm going to make you proud." And he's been doing that since day one.
So I would like to thank my family, especially my mother. She's been through a lot with me.
That's right, y'all. A positive story. Now, I know Beyonce made history tonight, and that is great. And listen, I love Beyonce, so the Hive don't come after me. I truly love Beyonce. But this group of boys made life-changing history. That's right. These boys are from the back-to-back state champion Dunbar High Poets. Some of y'all may have heard that name Dunbar before. That is the same Dunbar, which quite possibly had the greatest high school basketball team ever, which was a part of they had a 30 for 30 on this Dunbar basketball team. I think it was called Baltimore Boys, so check that out. Also a part of this iconic photo, Muggsy Bogues, Reggie Williams, Reggie Lewis, David Wingate, to name a few. So yeah, it's that Dunbar. But the football team this year made history locally. Was sending 10 student athletes, 10 African American student athletes on their way to college. More than 73 scholarship offers, as you heard in the clip. Now, just a quick rundown on the clip. Obviously, for those of you watching on YouTube, you can see the clip. For those listening on your favorite podcast streaming platform, give your boy a 5-star like, by the way. What you heard was a local news publication sharing the story of, as I said, Dunbar High School sending 10 boys, student athletes, to college on scholarship. Uh, Obviously, that was a record for their school, and it may have been some sort of record for the state. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but nonetheless, it is an amazing feat. Amazing comp. Let me do it again. It was an amazing accomplishment. How'd I do there? Yeah. So, and I just feel like it needed to be highlighted. These are stories that we don't hear enough about. Um, Growing up in Baltimore for these kids, man, it's not an easy place to find your way. And for those, because you could have some people listening and saying, "Okay, whip de doo," right? But to put it in context for you, growing up here in Baltimore, it's just not an easy place to find your way. You can easily get tangled in the wrong web. The city is crime ridden. Um, and a lot of our young boys are being taken away far, far too soon. And not even just our young boys. Let me rephrase that. Our young kids are being taken away far, far too soon in the city of Baltimore. And as I said before, man, it's just a tough place for these kids to grow up, for anybody. And you know, in most cases, in that city in particular, the odds are stacked against them. Um, Not only to finish high school, but to go to college and get an education, and not only just to go to college, but to get a scholarship and to have your college paid for. It's just, as I said, man, the odds are stacked against some of these kids. And Baltimore is a place where you have a ton of talented people, not just athletes, not just musicians, not just artists, uh, not just talented that way, but academically talented. But unfortunately, you have a high number of those folks that just don't have the opportunity to further their education and to spread their wings. So then they have to make life or death choices, unfortunately. And um, it can be a sad, sad thing. So that is why this is amazing. I feel like even if this wasn't Baltimore, even if this wasn't any other crime ridden city, I just think for one school to put out that amount of student athletes um, and send them to college on scholarship, I just think that's amazing. Um, they're coached by Coach Lawrence Smith. Um, and as I said before, they posted back to back undefeated seasons and two back to back state championships. Um, that's impressive as well. But let's focus on the classroom, man. Which I think the most impressive part about what they did off the field was, as a team, they boosted a 3.2 grade point average as a team, which is great, which is impressive, which should be highlighted, which should be talked about. As you heard in the clip, more than 73 scholarship offers from schools like Maryland, Army, Cornell, Penn State. 18 million was awarded to these students. And the big thing, these families won't have to spend anything on college. Um, this school, Dunbar, has gone through its fair share of black eyes in the media with the coaches, which I won't go into depth about. Um, There was even a shooting last year or 2020 um, on campus or on the outside of near the campus of the school. Um, so, you know, these boys, and I won't go in depth on those situations with the coaches and the shooting because I don't want the accomplishments of these boys to get lost. But more context to put it into on what these kids in that city go through. Um, so it's just more impressive that they fought through the adversity through the season. Um, I wanted to point out one kid in particular. I think his name was Shantron Monroe. He was a kid in the clip um, who broke down crying when he was announcing his college choice. And um, as you heard in the clip, I think they spoke about how his mother passed away during the season, during the football season. So he's a 18-year-old kid, lost his mom, and as a grown man who lost his parents at the age of 32, I couldn't imagine what it would feel like to be 18 and to have to navigate life without your first love, which is your mother. Um, quick story, and this is how I always go longer than I'm supposed to. But, back in 2014, as you all know, in losing my parents, my dad passed first. Um, I had a kid, man. I think he was a third grade kid, young kid, man. And he came up to me and he said, Mr. Mike, sorry about your dad. And I was like, oh, man, thank you. And he was like, yeah, I know how you feel. And I said, you do? And he said, yeah. He said, my dad left me when I was a baby, and my mom left me when I was in first grade. And here I am, 32 years old at the time, and I'm feeling down and I'm feeling like the world, everybody should feel sorry for me because I just lost my best friend, my dad. And here's someone in the third grade. I think in third grade they might be 8. Here's somebody 8 who experienced the same thing basically, and what is he gonna do? Just put it in perspective. At least I had my parents for 32 years. And this kid stuck out to me just because we share similarities, and I just couldn't imagine what Shantron Monroe has to be feeling like. 18, man, he's a kid. 18. So these kids, man, went through a lot of adversity throughout the season, and none to their own. Like I said, I don't want to go into depth, but none of their own. That some things they had to fight through to not only, like I said, stay focused on the field to go undefeated and to win a state championship, but to stay locked in the classroom. So let's get more stories like this front and center. I'm tired of hearing the negative. Let's talk about these kids that's working super hard, especially in this social media era, when they can be distracted in multiple ways. It's so easy, so much more easier for them to be distracted than it was for us. I mean, we had some things, but we ain't have social media like this. And, just to have the world at their fingertips and access to the world and different things at their fingertips. And they fought through that. And that goes for any kid in this day and age who's doing what they're supposed to be doing and hitting the books and thriving in athletics or whatever it may be, chess, golf, whatever. It's academic. I don't know. That's probably a local thing. Is that a local thing? It's academic was a show that came on Saturday mornings. Local high schools, it had to be local then. Local high schools would compete against each other, and it was all academic, you know. And they went head up, it was kind of like a Jeopardy, for high school kids, local high school. So, you know, whatever it is, book club, whatever it is, man. These kids stay in focus. So that's it. Short and sweet. I promise you, short and sweet. I just wanted to point out the history that was made um, locally here in Baltimore, Dunbar High School. Um, and I want to shout out all the other high schools and all the other kids that earned scholarships and all the other kids who didn't earn scholarships but are on their way to college and fighting through the adversity to get there. Let's get more of these stories front and center. And before I go, I wanted to name the kids, the 10 boys from this team. We had Tavis Brown. He'll be headed to Virginia State. We had Kelby Carter, who'll be staying home and going to Morgan State. We had Tony Hart, who'll be going to Elon. We had Devon Jones, who'll be going to Bethany College. Tristan Keenan, who'll be going to Maine. Shantron Monroe, who'll be going to Seton Hill. I hope I don't butcher. I am going to butcher this kid's name. Forgive me. Ibike. He'll be going to Delaware State. Devin Page, Lafayette. Devin Roach, Old Dominion. Donald Smith, he'll be staying home, Morgan State. And Josh Fedd will be headed to Harvard. So touche to those kids. Clap it up for those kids, man. And if you have any more stories like this, where are you from? Send them to me. I'd like to spend some time not, highlighting some more of these stories. It could be short form. Could do a short episode like this, but I think if I could take my, like I said, my little nano platform and push these little stories in front of more people, I'm all for it. So shout out to those kids. Shout out, like I said, shout out to everybody, all the other kids who made things happen like this, man. And good luck to you guys going forward. Much success going forward. College is real, man. You're an adult. You on your own. You don't have, you know, you don't have a teacher checking on you all the time. You don't come to class. You just don't come to class, and they will just mark your ass absent. Where, you might have that cool teacher in high school who gonna text you nowadays, call you, where you at? Get your butt to school. So, again, shout out to those boys, college bound. And shout out to y'all, man. I appreciate y'all checking in. Short, sweet episode. I listen, I finally did it. Short episode. And watch I stretch it even longer with this long-winded. Shout out to OTR Brandon. He always say I'm long-winded, man. The OTR boys in general used to say I was long-winded when it came to ending the show. So yeah, man, shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all checking in. Man, follow me on all your social media platforms at OTR_Mike on TikTok and Twitter, and then OTR Mike _ on Instagram. Like and subscribe to YouTube channel. It's Open Mic with OTR Mike. And I am available on all your favorite podcast streaming platforms. Any of them. I'm there. So find me there. Open Mic with OTR Mike. Subscribe there. Like there. Give your boy a 5-star rating. That's all I got for y'all tonight, good people. Get back to watching the Grammys and all of that good stuff. I'll holler at y'all next week. Peace.